Chapter 7. 20 minutes later, we're standing at the front door of 12 Lockton Street. It took a little longer than expected, even though Enzo took a quick shower. He then came downstairs in wrinkled jeans and a t-shirt, because of course he did. So I had to send him back upstairs to change into something a little more respectable. Now he's wearing the button-up black dress shirt I bought him 6 months ago, when I realised he had absolutely no dress shirts, and as expected, it perfectly complements his dark eyes and hair, and he looks achingly handsome. Also, as expected, he looks very uncomfortable, and like there's a chance he might rip it off at some point during the evening. Suzette would die. The apple pie is now warm, which helps it look more homemade. It's also very hot to hold. It's currently scalding my hands, and I can't wait to put it down. Nico was tugging at his own short-sleeved dress shirt, which has an even higher chance of being ripped off due to discomfort tonight than his father's. Do we have to go to Bourbon? Boring dinner? Yes, I say. But I want to play baseball with Dad. We won't be there long. What are they making for dinner? I don't know. Can I watch TV while we're there? I turn my head to glare at my son. No, you cannot. I look over at Enzo for support, although he looks like he's trying not to laugh. He probably wishes he could watch TV too. After a minute of my hands being scorched by the supermarket pie, an unfamiliar woman pulled open the front door. She is reached 60 years old and built like a linebacker, with greying hair pulled back into a tight bun. She is the most perfect posture I've ever seen. Like if you put a book on her head and checked on it 2 days later, it would still be there. She's got on a flowered dress with a white apron over it. She stares at me with dull grey eyes that bore right instantly. Hello, I say uncertainly. I check the house number on the door as if I might have somehow gone to the wrong house next door. I'm Millie. We're here for Millie. Behind the woman who greeted us, a voice floats out from within the depths of the house. A second later, Suzette descends the stairs, looking simultaneously slightly breathless and yet without a single hair out of place. She's wearing a green dress that makes me realise her eyes are actually more green than blue, and whatever miraculous bra she's wearing pushes her bows practically up to her chin. Her butterscotch-coloured hair is shiny, like she was just whisked out of the salon, and her skin almost seems like it's glowing. She looks gorgeous. I look over at Enzo to see if he's noticing how she looks, but he's busily fiddling with a button on his shirt. He really hates that shirt. Hopefully he can keep it on till we get home. Millie and Enzo, she cried, clasping her hands together, with more delight than anyone could possibly have over the neighbours coming to visit. I'm so glad you could make it. It's so fashionably late. Sheesh, we've only 5 minutes late. Hi, Suzette, I say. I see you've already met Martha. Suzette's eyes twinkle as she puts a hand on the older woman's shoulder. She helps out here 2 days a week. Jonathan and I are just so busy, and Martha is a lifesaver. Yes, I'm Irma. I have been in many families' Marthas in the past, but I was never able to play the part as well as this woman clearly does. She looks like a maid right from out of the 50s. All she needs is a little feather duster and one of those vacuums with the comically large engines. Yet there's something unnerving about her. Possibly because she's still staring at me like she can't rip her eyes away. I'm used to women staring at Enzo, but she's not interested in him or my children. Her gaze is laser beam, focused on my face. What is so interesting? Do I have spinach in my teeth? Is there a celebrity I resemble she wants an autograph? Could Martha get you anything to drink? Suzette asked me and Enzo, although she's looking at him. Water? A glass of wine? I believe we also have some lovely pomegranate juice. We both shake our heads. No thank you, I say. Are you sure? She says. It's no trouble for Martha. I look over at the older woman who's still standing there rigidly, waiting for the word to dash back in the kitchen and fetch us a beverage. It's no trouble, she chimes in, her voice low and gravely like she's not used to using it. We're fine, I assure her, hoping she'll leave. She doesn't. Suzette finally notices Nico and Ida, who are patiently huddled in the doorway. And these must be her 2 beautiful children. How completely precious. Thank you, I say. It always struck me as odd that when you compliment someone's children, the parents say thank you, like they are the owner of the child. Yet here I am, saying thank you. Suzette turns her attention back to Enzo. They both look exactly like you. Not exactly, Enzo says, which is a bold-faced lie. Ida has Millie's mouth and lips. I don't see it, Suzette says. She doesn't see it because it's not true. Neither of them look anything like me. And while we're at it, neither of the kids share my personality. Nico's a lot like Enzo. I don't know where on earth my intelligent, reserved daughter came from. By the way, Suzette says, I just found out some fantastic news. Another family that Martha works for has just moved away. I'll bet she'd be happy to clean for you too. Oh, Enzo and I exchanged looks. Of course I love the idea of someone besides me cleaning my house, but we can't afford it. That's so nice of you, really. But I don't think I'm free Thursday mornings, Martha tells me. Would Thursday mornings work for you? Suzette asks me. How'd I explain to this woman whose house is twice the size of ours that we can't afford a cleaning woman? And even if we could afford one, there's something about Martha that makes me incredibly uncomfortable. The time is okay, but... Before I can come up with an excuse that doesn't involve me admitting that we don't want Martha's services, Suzette's eyes drop to the pile of my hands. She lets out a tinkling laugh. Oh no, Nelly, did you drop that the way over? Ugh, I guess I made it too rustic. Thankfully, I at least managed to put down the pile on the coffee table in their living room where Martha disappears to the kitchen. The living room is much larger than ours. Every part of their house is twice as large as ours, or possibly 3 times. The outside is just as old as ours. The house was built in the 1800s and not much has been altered, but unlike ours, the inside of their house has been fully renovated. Enzo has promised to renovate our house the same way, but I suspect it will take the better part of the next decade. The house is gorgeous, I comment, and you have so much space. Suzette rests her hands on a large piece of furniture that I guess she would call an armoire. I wonder if we could get an armoire for our house. Who am I kidding? We're lucky we can afford chairs and tables. All 3 of these houses used to be farmhouses originally, she says. This house was the main house where the owner lived, and 13 Noctis was the servants' quarters. And what about our house? I asked. I believe that was a shelter for the animals. What? Cool, Nicholas says. I bet my room is the picture room. Okay, she has got to be messing with us. I mean, if it were a house for animals, it wouldn't have stairs, right? Or maybe the stairs were put in later. I have noticed sort of a smell that... Jonathan, Suzette cries. Suzette's blue-green eyes are on the twisting stairwell leading to the second floor of their house, where a man is descended to the first floor. He's wearing a white dress shirt paired with a navy blue tie, and unlike my husband, he seems very comfortable dressing up. Also, unlike my husband, his looks are otherwise completely unassuming. His facial features are blandly pleasing, his light brown hair is neatly trimmed, and he's clean-shaven. He's only a couple inches taller than I am, with a slight build. He seems like the sort of man who could disappear into any crowd. Hello, he says with an easy smile. You must be Millie and Enzo. He turns to address the kids. And company? After Suzette's pretentiousness, Jonathan feels like a breath of fresh air. Yes, I'm Millie, I say. You must be Jonathan. That's right. He reaches out to take my hand, and unlike Suzette's death grip, his palm is smooth and he doesn't make any attempts to break even one of the bones in my hand. So good to finally meet you. Jonathan shakes Enzo's hand first, next, and if he is at all threatened by my husband, some insecure men are, he certainly doesn't show it. I instinctively like Jonathan. I can't say why, but it's just the vibe I get. I've worked in a lot of households in my lifetime, and I've gotten pretty damned good at reading people, especially reading couples. You can tell a lot from body language. There are certain gestures I've seen husbands make that suggest they are exerting their power in the relationship. For example, a kiss on the forehead rather than on the lips. A hand on the small of the back while they walk. It's so, but I've come to notice it. However, Jonathan isn't doing any of that with Suzette. There's nothing to make me think that they are anything more than what they seem, a happily married couple. So how are you enjoying the new house? He asks us. I love it, I bear it out, having forgotten my shame of my house possibly having previously served as a shed for barn animals. I know it's small, but... Small? Jonathan laughs. I think it's a perfect size. I would have grabbed that house if it were available. This one is so... ostentatious, especially for just the 2 of us. Score another point for Jonathan. Do you have children? Enzo asks them. But poor Jonathan can answer Suzette blurts out, oh no, we're not children type of people. They're so loud and messy and constantly need attention. No offence. People who want to make that sacrifice are absolute saints. She laughs as she says the words as if it's hilarious that anyone would want to give up their life to be a parent. But it's just not for us. We are absolutely in agreement about that, right, Jonathan? Right, yes, he says amicably. Suzette and I have always agreed in that. It's not for everyone, I say, although I couldn't help but notice that while Suzette was gushing about how wonderful it is to be child-free, Jonathan had a morose look on his face. It makes me wonder if they really are absolutely in agreement on the issue of parenthood. I wouldn't judge anyone for not wanting to be a parent, but it's sad when one person in a couple has to give up their dream to suit the other. I was telling Millie that I love how cosy and quaint the house is. Suzette says, I agree, this house is just so sprawling and extravagant. Honestly, we just don't know what to do with all this space, especially our massive backyard. At the mention of the word backyard, Enzo perks up. I have a landscaping business if you're looking for help with your yard. Suzette arches an eyebrow. Do you? He nods eagerly. I have clients in the Bronx, but I'm now trying to move out here. Such a big drive to the sea. The Long Island Expressway is murder, Suzette agrees. Yes, especially the way Enzo drives. Every time he merges onto 495, I'm certain he will die a fiery death. He had a very decent business back in the Bronx, but he's making an effort to get more clients out on the island, so he doesn't have to keep making that long drive every day. The goal is to transition his business to the surrounding neighbourhoods within the next few years. And there are enough wealthy families around here that there's good potential for the business to grow and expand. I am excellent at landscaping, Enzo adds. Whatever you want me to do with your yard, I do it. Anything? Suzette asks, in a voice dripping with suggestion. All landscape services, yes. She rests a hand on his biceps. I just might take you up on that. And then, she's lays her hand there, on my husband's arm's muscle. For way too long. I mean, there's got to be a limit to how long you're allowed to keep your hand on the muscles of a man who's not your husband, right? But it's harmless. Her old husband is right there, after all. And Jonathan doesn't seem the slightest bit upset over it. He probably knows that Suzette is a flirt he's learned to ignore it. I tell myself I have nothing to worry about. And I almost convince myself too.